Now, a UN vessel has arrived in the waters off Yemen for a highly sensitive operation transferring crude oil currently stored on board a dilapidated tanker off the coast of Hodeidah. No maintenance operations have been carried out since 2015 due to that ongoing conflict in the region. The operation is considered complex, but the UN believes there's no other alternative to prevent a massive oil spill. To take us through this is our science editor, Julia Seeger. Hello, Julia.
Hello, Annette.
What exactly is the story?
So the dilapidated supertanker is called the Safer, and it's been anchored 50 kilometers off the coast of Hodeidah in Yemen since the 1980s. And indeed, there hasn't been any maintenance operations since 2015 because of the conflict that opposes the Houthi movement supported by Iran and the government forces that are supported and backed by a military coalition led by Saudi Arabia. And indeed, for several years now, this tanker has posed the threat of exploding at any moment. And it's carrying 4 times the amount of crude oil than did the vessel that was involved in the Exxon Valdez oil spill of 1989, which is still considered as one of the worst ecological disasters in the world. Now, in the event of an oil spill, it would, of course, have a consequence on the entire region, Saudi Arabia, Djibouti, Somalia, Eritrea as well. And the cost of cleaning alone, I'm not talking about the economic cost, but the cleaning alone has been estimated to $20 billion by the UN. So I'll let you just imagine the kind of economic damages this could trigger. Now, fearing an oil spill, and because of the conflict, the UN decided to take matters into their own hands. They raised money and they bought this ship called the Nautica, which has just docked next to the FSO Safer, and they're now going to start pumping the oil off the rusting ship, which is also indeed a very difficult situation.
And why is it such a delicate operation?
Well, because of the situation on the boat, because it's so dilapidated, but at the same time, because of extreme temperatures, it's about 50 degrees Celsius in the Arabian Peninsula in summer, and that increases also the risks of slipping and tripping for the workers who are also wearing these very heavy protective gear. There's another problem, Annette, and that's marine mines, because we are on a battlefield here. So here you see what a mine looks like. It's actually a global problem, but especially right now in Yemen. And I'm going to show you an explosion. There you go, an explosion of a marine mine. So just imagine if there was such an explosion next to the tanker that is now filled with over 1 billion barrels of petrol. So what they had to do, the operation is going to last 3 weeks. It has already started. They had to secure the entire boat, so they looked at every valve, the mooring, to make sure that it hasn't changed. The tank atmosphere is considered to be unsafe because of cargo vapor. They had to inject inert gas into every one of the tanks to make the situation stable on the boat, and that's also to stop, to reduce the risk of explosion and fire. Now, with the arrival of the UN ship, they're now going to start transferring the equivalent of 1 billion barrels of oil, and that's also going to be highly sensitive. If everything goes well, it will then be towed to a scrapyard.
And this, of course, all happening at extremely high temperatures too. So what is going to happen to the recovered oil?
So that's a great question. They're going to have to first evaluate the quality of the oil, if it has been contaminated by seawater or other substances, and the ownership of the oil is also a question, because the rivalry between the Houthis and the government is still ongoing, even though the violence on the ground has reduced considerably. But the UN says that it first decided to negotiate this preventing this massive spill, and now they're going to start, if everything goes well, they will have to negotiate on who's going to take that oil and who's going to get the revenue from it.
Indeed, a difficult operation on so many levels. Thank you so much, Julia.